Hello, my name is Nicole Gregory, director here at the Morton Museum of Collierville History. Today's date is January 12th, 2026, and this is the second recording session of our project, In Their Words, the Collierville Oral History Project. Today with me is Barbara Weir, and if you can just introduce yourself and give us a little bit of your connection with Collierville.
I'd be glad to. I'm Barbara Sanderlin Weir. I have lived here since '87, but I'm the fifth generation Collierville. Go all the way back into the mid-1800s with my family here.
So just to get into, let's start from the basics. What was childhood like in early Collierville? I mean, we all know it's changed drastically.
Well, in that part now, I didn't grow up in Collierville. My mother, they moved to Memphis when she was like 12, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember coming out here visiting my great-grandparents out here on Peterson Lake. Very few houses. There was mostly fields, and it was just lots of dairy pastures, and that was kind of like what it was here. It was very small.
So you remember Collierville back when it was a dairy town?
I do. I was a child.
But so we all heard about like the infamous cheese carnivals and things like that, and how crazy those were for a very small Collierville to handle an event that brought 20,000 people.
That's a lot.
But when you remember like visiting Collierville, how would you describe it? Like, do you have any like key memories of looking through Collierville? Because I know it's drastically different now. It's a lot more compact, a lot more going on.
Well, I remember coming into Collierville where that field is, where the Schilling farm, where all the buildings are now.
Yeah.
There was a road that went back to that plantation home, which is now off of Winchester. But it was lined with trees, and I remember in the spring we'd come through here and there were buttercups. There were daffodils. There were just fields of daffodils out there.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Very
picturesque.
that, But it was mostly just land. People were it was very few and far houses apart. You had not that much going down Poplar.
And do you think there was like the still sense of community that there is today? As we know, Collierville is a unit for sure.
It's big and spread out now. Of course, you lose a lot of that when you get as big as we are now. But we do have more of a sense of being a town. I think we've kept a lot of that as much as we can. All the growth.
I've actually been recently told that the reason why we still go by the town of Collierville is because of our charter, because we are now in the 50,000s, so we're getting to the point of being a city at this rate, and then we will keep on growing. But I do know that a lot of people who've grown up here for most of their lives are so deeply rooted in Collierville back when it was 3,000 people. So
well, actually, when we moved back here in '87. There were only 6,000 people.
Only 6,000 people. That's insane.
Yeah, I know.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, I'm thinking about just how many people who work for the town of Collierville is up there in the 700s. I mean, and that's pretty drastic considering that only, 10, 15 years ago it was not even double digits yet.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the growth is insane. But as we talk about, the purpose of this project is to talk about like how things have remained the same, though things have changed in Collierville. So are there any like traditions or events that you remember when you came out here to visit with your grandparents? Maybe things they did that were very Collierville?
Well, not, they were older at the time, When I was to visit my great-grandparents out here, they were a lot older, so they really weren't,
out and about
that much. I didn't really attend anything, any kind of really functions except for family functions over here on Rolette at that house. So I don't really have any memories that much of that. I do remember the passenger train, though, and I remember riding that passenger train coming out here when I was 6 years old.
And did you just, was the passenger train, did it take you to?
All the way downtown.
All the way down? Oh,
my aunt who lived on Rolette, she worked downtown at the bank, which back then was National Bank of Commerce on Main Street. And so she took the train in every day. And back home.
Was it quicker to take the train than I know cars weren't rapid, huge.
6 years old, I don't know how long it would take you to drive down there, but it wasn't a real easy drive because I don't think Poplar went all the way downtown. I don't know how all that
ever came interconnected.
Yeah.
I know someone who didn't grow up down here, Poplar is a road that goes through the whole state, it feels like.
Just about.
So, when you visited town, did you have any kind of interaction with the people who lived here? Like, do you have anybody in mind that maybe stood out to you, or?
Not really. I mean, because I just dealt with my family. Because I was small when I came out here. When I was, when I used to come out here and visit families. So that's about the only. I mean, I don't remember anybody else that that I talk to or anything back then.
Well, now that you live a little bit closer, do you feel like maybe you are more interconnected now that you're a little older? You can appreciate some of these things a little better?
Oh, yeah, I don't think I've ever lost that appreciation for that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people carry that spirit of like, they can still see the face of Collierville, though she's changed for sure.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead, no, please.
No, I just wish it wasn't as large as it is. I shouldn't say that, but
No. I completely understand people who have seen Collierville change. Because I mean, one of the biggest, I wouldn't say complaints, but kind of like observations people make is Collierville has definitely quadrupled in size.
and the traffic and all that, But I mean, that's just the way it happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you always want your city to prosper. You want your town to become bigger and better and do more. And we think about all the things that happen on a day-to-day basis in Collierville. I mean, it's all required to keep this machine rolling. So, but and moving on to my next question about like Town Square. I mean,
I was going to say something about that. I think that has really kept the town
absolutely
more, closer together, because the square is still there. We have active businesses that people go to. I mean, it's that I think that's made a world of difference, keeping that town square.
And has it changed much through your times coming out here, or do you feel like she looks relatively
Well, yeah,
similar?
I remember when we moved out here in '87, they had the Christmas parade around the town square.
And you are not the first person who's brought that up. Back when now it goes all
We
the
just
way.
march around, go around to Mulberry, right on out again. That was it. But it was just kind of nice and quaint and cool, But I know it's the way it is. But
yeah, now it's a whole shebang. It goes all the way up and down by Halia and everything.
I mean, it's huge now. But I do remember when the square really was not. It was kind of dying out there in the early '70s. There weren't that many shops that were open. And I do remember that, so I'm glad that was preserved and it's been kept alive.
But I do know that the square has gone through some moments. Of course, we all know that 2 battles of Collierville happened out there, and that flattened it one time. And then there was the major fire, and that flattened it a second time. And then there was a tornado, and that flattened it a third time.
Oh yeah, they lost some buildings. I remember hearing about that.
I was about to say, not too many pictures of like when that got plowed through, but I mean, it's just almost like.
I just can't believe that ever happened. But
I swear. I know. And then recently they just actually uncovered the original McGinnis hardware and lumber storefront. And I think that is so cool because McGinnis was a long-standing business. I'm sure it was around when you were coming out here.
Oh, yeah. That was there. There was a little grocery store at the square, and there was a bank, little bank, and I think my aunt the other aunt that lived at Home Roulette worked at that bank. Yeah, and that was like a little title house where the barber shop is. Yeah, it was weird. Anyway.
And if you can think of like anything that really has like changed drastically, I know size is one big thing in traffic, but like has anything that you've gone and go, that's not how we used to do it, but
just about everything on a daily basis.
Yeah, I get that
it's
answer
bigger
a lot.
and more people, so I mean everything. Yeah, I mean. You got to grow. I understand that, but you do lose some of that you just can't get back. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, and you talk about like, for example, the Christmas parade being such a small little to do, and now it's massive. You got people reserving seats 3, 4, 5 days before the actual parade happens.
And that wasn't that many years ago. It was in '95 or maybe '96 or '7. That's when it was the last time they were on this.
Oh, I would say
hasn't been that many years.
I'm about to say it's about as long as I've been alive, so that really isn't that long. So, yeah, I mean, I think it would have been cute for us to, have a smaller parade that goes around the square. There's been so many parades around the square. We, for example, we were talking about the American Bicentennial. They had a parade.
They did, yeah.
And they marched around the square with their little groups, and even then it was still 50 people deep of 50 organizations deep with how many people got to go. But I think it would be fun to kind of bring back a mini
of course,
parade.
they have the concerts at the square in the summertime, which I hope they don't ever do away with that. I think that's nice.
Oh yes, that I think screams old Collierville is to go out there with your lawn chair and just enjoy music in the gazebo, because
exactly. And I wish they had a little bit longer. They started kind of late, and they only have it June and July. I wish it went through a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, people tell us all the time that they really enjoy those because I feel like it's such a slice of Americana.
It is. I mean, it's just like that. And everybody, everyone just gets along, and it's just nice. It's a nice community involvement.
And you think that energy stayed the same throughout the years? Like every time you come back here?
It seems to. That has. I think so.
Okay. I mean, I think the biggest thing is to keep the spirit. I feel like.
Yeah, keeping the spirit. Exactly.
Yeah, because I feel like the town's going to always change, but the spirit of Collierville, I think, remains the same pretty much. And I think the main reason why we wanted to capture the spirit on film is because as people pass away, unfortunately, that little bit of that gets chipped away, and
Chipped
hopefully,
away, it's not there anymore.
yeah, I'm hoping it gets renewed in these younger generations to you come
To
into.
keep it going, yes. I
But
think it's good that you're doing that.
now I get here a lot about. A lot of people say old Collierville a lot around here, and I feel like you got to experience a little bit of old Collierville. But what do you think about old Collierville you wish people would keep in mind as we move forward? I mean, we're looking at a pretty big milestone for America, 250th for us, and then Collierville just passed its 155th birthday. I mean, old Collierville's getting further and further away, so is there anything you would like to keep, or multiple things that you feel like people should keep as they move forward?
Well, like we were talking about, I think the feel like the town square and that feeling is a little tight community. I hope that always remains. I think that keeps that, everybody together. I hope that, stays. That's the heart of Collierville. I mean,
Yeah.
people move here from big cities and they realize this town has a lot to offer. It's special. It's not like any other place that you really find. I mean, really, it's like a little Hallmark town. So,
I'm surprised Hallmark hasn't visited us yet.
they made a movie here on the square one.
I'm about to say, I know they've made like some of the little, little straight to TV kind of videos, but I would love to see like some campy little love story on Main Street. But
I think maybe I hope they always keep that.
Keep that energy in the square. I mean, I think a lot of people, because there's always that designation, like, are you old Collierville? Like, are you from like the olden days?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of conflicts with these new people who move in and with the big city ideas. Because, I mean, from the outside looking in, Collierville is becoming a city.
No.
And it's kind of like people always come and ask me, like, why aren't we getting more, bars or clubs or bowling alleys or something like that? And I'm just... Do you feel like that has a place here, or do you feel like Collierville...
I hope it remains like it is. I'm sorry. You can always go into Memphis, or you're not that far. I mean,
Absolutely not.
So I don't think that we need to have some of those things. I don't think that's quite necessary, in my opinion. I'm sure other people can move in here don't feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their own opinion about it, and we'll never ever scratch every itch with everything.
No, you're right. It's not going to happen. But no, I think we're fine like we are. I hope it doesn't.
I do agree, though. I do think that if we start becoming too much like Memphis, then we start inviting like Memphis problems. You know what I mean? And Memphis has a bunch.
I can't say that, but you did.
Yeah. No, I'm just the Memphis problems in terms of like having to manage a large city with a lot of things, bringing a lot of different kinds of people in. I mean, it's just a fact of life, in my opinion.
The way it is.
Yeah, and it's just Collierville has been able to hold on to this that small town feel, which I think people move from Memphis for. I feel like
Yeah, a lot of people move out of Memphis to
get away from that city life. And this is coming from somebody who grew up in a town of 1,200 people. So Memphis was definitely an adjustment for me when I came down here.
Well, when I heard that Greenland has only 58,000 people or something like that, and I go, it's about the size of Collierville. We have 56,000, don't we?
Yeah, but I think we bumped up a couple thousand since the last
And the whole
census.
country of Greenland has 58,000? I mean, and no, it's not inhabitable probably, but anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, we're about the size of a
Put things in
small
perspective.
country.
In perspective, but anyway.
Well, you look at Collierville, and I think it's hard for people to even imagine that many people live here,
Well, we're still kind of spread out. So.
Yeah, we luckily enough are not all sitting on the top of each other's shoulders yet, but...
Yeah, it's not that crowded, but yeah.
But I'm just going to ask too, I know you visited up here intermittently with your family and then moved out here, but are there any like memories of Collierville that you are very particularly fond of? Something that you saw or maybe experienced that you were like, and it could be something that you just had with your family. It doesn't have to be.
It's more like with the family. I used to love to visit my great-grandmother Jackson, which she was a Nolly and lived here at Nolly and Peterson Lake. And I used to love to come here when I was a kid because she had all the cows. And I remember going out there and chasing the cows in the field. Anyway, that's about it's a family memory. And then over here coming to lunch on Rolette, and I remember they had a wood-burning a stove. And they would fix big old lunches on Sunday. We'd come out here and eat. Of course, like I said, I was probably 5, 6 years old at the time, so...
Did you have a lot of good memories coming out to Grandma and Grandpa's?
Oh yeah, yeah. Coming out here and, you know, having big old family dinners and sitting on the front porch and watching the train go by. It was just simpler time.
Did it come by more frequently as it does now? Because I know it comes by about 2 or 3 times.
That's hard for me to know. I know they had the passenger train, you know. There wasn't a lot of freight, I don't think, back then. I don't remember seeing a lot of freight trains.
Do you remember when they stopped doing passenger trains? I know it was...
Probably around the time that I think that's why we came out here on it, because it was going to be taken up. So
about the time you moved out here in 87?
Oh, no. When I was 6 years old, that's when it stopped. Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I know, I really wish they would bring... I know they've been talking about a merger that may or may not bring back passenger trains, but I think that would be cool.
But it really made a lot of sense. I mean, you need it more now than you did then, but yeah.
Yeah, true. I mean, nowadays I think people would, like, for example, when we do Train Heritage Day here, which is a big to-do for the town, because, I mean, let's be honest, we were made or break on that train line for the longest time. And so, I mean, people were asking, like, oh, is the train going to take us through all the spots? And I was like, unfortunately, no. It's still a functioning
freight train. That's all it is. Yeah.
And you can hear it from 100 miles away coming down the road.
But it would stop at, because I actually grew up in Memphis. My mother grew up here, and they moved to Memphis, and I grew up in Memphis. But it went right behind close to the school that I went to in high school, and they had a stop spot in Bunton, which is close to Messick, where Messick was. And it would stop and come all the way out here. It would stop in Germantown, and then it had to stop here. Never went any further than here.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know Germantown Depot. We actually...
That was actually a depot.
Yeah, that was actually a depot. I know now it's kind of like our depot where it's a little bit of a historical spot.
Yeah, well, they moved it too, because it used to be on the...
Oh, okay. Okay, because I know they have a rail that's kind of sort of next to it.
Yeah,
but
that's not they moved the depot, the whole building or something. Anyway.
I mean, we ourselves have had several different depots down here. I mean, is this the one that you're familiar with, or did you get to see the old one?
I saw the old one. Oh, yeah.
And the old one
I think it's probably the same building, but I mean, it was smaller, and it was closer to the Mulberry. It was kind of closer that way.
Yeah, I think because this one was donated from Fayette County by Southern Railways, but
I thought it might have been the same building, because I remember when they moved. It's not the same.
I think it's the third one we've had, because we had the original, like, huge one back in the day when that was nothing but passenger trains. And then they gave us a smaller one when the passenger trains started way down. And then I think they officially just moved us over to, like, a plain old depot after passenger trains stopped. But I know not too many people remember the old one. He's like, they were similar in build, so I think a lot of people assume that this is just the same one.
Yeah, they probably do, because it was smaller. It was smaller.
But
that's only, I mean, being that small, that's what I remember. It sticks out in my mind, just coming here in the train. That was a big deal.
I know you're so lucky you got to see the old-fashioned passenger trains come in here. I wish we had some, like, video footage of that.
Well, yeah, and that little clip that I have from that 16 millimeter is about not long enough to see much.
I mean, it's more than we have, that is for sure.
Well, I'll be glad to take the...
I'm about to say, we'll see if we can try to get that off the thumb drive.
I mean, it's just a flash of my great-grandfather on the porch, and then it flashes over to the train. The train's coming up the track, and that's the end of the tape.
So how many generations of your family, like, lived out here?
Okay, so Buck and Ollie bought the house from Abington that was built on Peterson Lake. And he was injured in the Civil War. So he came back and bought that house, and he lived there. Then his daughter, Mary Jackson, and she lived right down the street. So that I go back as far as Buck and Ollie, which would be my great-great-grandfather.
Oh, wow. So
Great.
You've got some blood tied up in here, that's for sure.
And then on the other side, it was a Sanderlin, and he donated the first piece of property for the county seat of Shelby County in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been not Raleigh, North Carolina, Raleigh, the town of Raleigh.
Yeah, don't worry, I do that too sometimes.
Anyway, so it's kind of like a lot of history, but he didn't have anything to do with Collierville, of course. So.
And I must say, a lot of people's families here are so ingrained in Collierville history. Did your family ever, like, pass down a lot of knowledge to you, or they're...
Yeah, I remember them talking about stuff all the time, but, you don't think about when you're a kid, and and now there's nobody to ask the questions to anymore. So my mother wrote down everything about a lot of stuff that she did when she was small and things that she did in a little book. Before it got to be popular, because she died, 13 years ago. I gave her a book, and it says, "Tell me about your life." And it asks for different dates, and she tells the story of different things. It's about this big.
That's such a blessing, though. I do love that. I've noticed that has been a trend. You'll gift it to people, and then every day they'll get a new email saying, okay, tell us about January 12th, 1964, or something like that.
Yeah, and she dropped little pictures in there from things that were out here in Collierville and things that she did back then.
So you would say she probably had more of an experience in Collierville?
She did, yeah. They moved to Memphis when she was 13.
Okay, and was it just for? I'm sure it was job related, just better opportunity.
I don't know.
You didn't know?
I have no idea why they moved.
I know. Well, people always ask, like,
I guess my grandfather didn't want to farm anymore. I guess I don't know.
Well, they were having that issue with the boll weevil for around that era.
I don't know. He bought a Texaco service station. He had a Texaco service station.
He said, "That's where I'm going. I'm going up to Memphis."
I don't know why they did that.
Well, people always ask, why would you ever want to leave Collierville?
There wasn't many people here at the time.
Collierville, and it was different ball field back in the day.
I don't know.
Well, and so the point of this program, I do want to talk about things that maybe most people would try to avoid, but we don't want to blanch history to be, digestible for everybody.
Right.
Do you remember maybe with your family having any difficulties or any problems in Collierville? I mean, I know that question is answered differently by everybody, but
like I said, as a child, looking back, I don't remember anybody having any problems with anything. Not that I ever heard about.
Yeah.
They kept it from me, but I don't know.
They could. I mean, parents always like to keep those secrets from
I don't know how
their
far
kids.
back you're thinking about going, but no, I don't remember hearing anything.
That's good. Well, like I said, everybody answers that question differently. People who have lived here for generations have different answers than someone who's lived here.
Really?
Oh, well, and this is, I think about it too, like, whether you come from any kind of certain class, racial background, everybody has a different reaction to the same situation, so I think a lot of people like to hear, like, where a little bit of an adjustment, like literally you living 2 feet down the road more makes your experience about a situation a lot more different.
Yeah, I didn't ever hear of any.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, it must have not been too traumatic.
No, I mean, I don't remember anybody having problems with anything or anybody, any kind of scandals or anything like that. No, I mean.
Hey, listen, we love a scandal, okay?
It was nice and serene. Yeah.
I mean, you can't ask for much better than that in a small town like this.
Yeah.
Well, and then that actually moves me into a good conversation about to the flip side of good things. We just, like I said, we're kicking off our 250th celebration, and Collierville back in 1990s, the 70s, loved a good party. In 70, they celebrated the town's the centennial, and then in 76, they celebrated America's bicentennial. So are there any, did your family take you to any events or anything like that? Maybe programs that even back then the town were throwing? Because I know they were rare, but.
No, I don't remember anything like that.
Well, and then even today, is there any events that you've seen today that you're just we talked about the concerts on the square.
Oh, yeah. Well, I went to when they had the other centennial. I forgot when it was now. What number it was? But the town.
The 150th.
The 150th.
Yeah, that was back during COVID days.
I remember being here for that. I went to the square and they had all kinds of stuff going on. No, I try to. I mean, I kind of support everything I can that goes on and have at the town. Always.
Absolutely.
Always attend.
I mean, it's free. It's always say it's free. So what do you lose?
But always attend.
And how do you feel about the town? I mean, because I get different responses to this too. Some people feel like the town spends too much money and time on doing all these events. Other people are like, hey, we love every single thing you do.
No, I don't think they spend too much money and time. I think it's worth it. It keeps that close-knit kind of community feel. I don't think that it's a waste at all. Not at all.
Well, because I think about a person like you who has come in and out of Collierville, still feel like you're a piece of Collierville because you were in not only your family ties, but also because of the events they throw. You still can come in here and see people you recognize and talk to. And I feel like that's an important way to keep that small town feel.
Well, I've been here now, living here for 37 years now, so.
And are you thinking this is the end of the road? You're not going anywhere else?
Well, I never know.
I mean, I think Collierville's a good place to end up, and at the end of it all, honestly, I can't be too mad if I.
No, I think Collierville's a wonderful town. I think when people come in here and they see what it has to offer, usually they always end up wanting to buy a home here instead of somewhere else.
I absolutely understand. Now, I don't know if I can afford a home here, but I definitely can try.
Oh, it has gone up.
Yeah, I remember I brought my grandparents out here, and they were just, I'm just curious. They were walking around the square, and we stopped at the realtors, and they were looking at some of the houses. And they were like,
There's only 4 on the square.
I know, and they were like, some of I think the cheapest house was like $500,000. I was like, yeah, it's not easy to move out here, and I think that's what a lot of people also complain about too, is like the cost of living out here is pretty high.
Yeah.
But I mean, it translates to like.
But compared to some other parts of the country, it's not. You know?
It really
so, I mean,
isn't.
it's just all relative, you know.
Well, I think about back up north because I'm from Maryland. The cost of living up there is
Ooh,
pretty
it's
astronomical.
Pretty bad.
I mean, me being able to live on my own, a lot of my friends up north can't do that because it's just everything costs so much.
Things are more affordable here.
Yeah.
So, and every house, that's average price. Every house is not over 500,000.
Yes.
So they're still affordable.
A lot of these historical houses are going for pretty good price, and they're going to need some TLC, but
I'm hoping they don't tear down the old great grandparents' house on Rolette.
yes, they are building a hotel out here, from what I've heard.
That's all. So
Hey, I mean,
I'm just hoping they don't tear it down because that's just it's been there that long. John
Yeah.
Green owns it, so.
well, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people about some of the houses, like the old house that the Gus's Fried Chicken was in, and they've been talking about tearing that one
gonna tear
down.
that down.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, you can't tear down these houses; have been around since ever."
Yeah, the chamber used to be down there.
Oh, really? See, I didn't even know that Gus's was back there for the longest time. I think I drove down there for town business, and I was like, "Is that a Gus's Fried Chicken?" But
Yeah, I just wish they wouldn't tear down so much.
yeah, I mean, especially on the square, I think those houses around the square, I would definitely at least try to keep together, just because some of them have been there for eons.
Yeah.
Since the last time a natural disaster took the
Well,
square.
that one had to be, the one on Rolette's got to be 1820,
Yeah.
maybe 30.
I think it's been around as
at
long as
least it's got to be.
Collierville, Collierville's been around, because Collierville lost its charter during the Civil War, so it depends on who you ask how old Collierville actually is. Some people say it's older, some people say it's
Well, I
younger.
also heard too it's the state line. I remember my grandmother telling me that something about the state line. Actually, part of it was in Mississippi, and they thought that it was in Tennessee or something like that. I don't know if you've heard that story or not.
Yes, the great debacle about that. Mississippi and Tennessee could not agree.
On where the line was,
Yes.
because wherever they were living when she popped out in 1897, it was a discrepancy if she was actually born in Mississippi or Tennessee. She always thought she was born in Collierville. That never changed. Anyway, I just remember them talking about it. So,
I wonder if that caused her a lot of problems. I mean, I'm sure she wasn't the only one that had to go through.
way back then, it probably wasn't that big of a deal. It's like
Yeah, well,
would be now.
records were like somebody would sign off on a document.
But I don't know where that was, so you might have that.
I think it's where, because Poplar used to be called the State Line Road. So I know that on this side of Poplar, it was a crapshoot whether you were in Tennessee or Mississippi, which I think is actually kind of funny considering that I think it had something to do with the surveyors. Notes were not clear, and they had discrepancies on like if you put this in Mississippi, or I think it was DeSoto County particularly, because we're at a very convenient location. I think we're between Shelby and Fayette County, and then DeSoto and Marshall County for Mississippi. And people were fighting over us because we were a huge trade center with the train there. And yeah, I think it was not until like maybe the turn of the century that they actually ever figured it out.
I don't know when it was, but I remember my grandmother talking about that a lot, and it must have been controversial then.
Oh yeah, it was a big heated moment. Everybody, because Tennessee didn't want to lose an inch, and Mississippi didn't want to lose an inch, especially during the Civil War. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, do you actually remember any of the damage that was done to the square, like the tornado and the stuff like that?
No, I just remember them talking about it because I'm not quite that old. So
Yeah.
I don't remember
Well,
that.
I mean, let's say the tornado was
What
more
year was
recent. I think that was actually in the 70s.
Was it in the 70s?
Yeah, I remember it was a late tornado. It was in November.
Oh, I didn't realize it was 70s. I thought it happened before then because it tore up the gazebo too.
Yeah.
It messed up the gazebo. The original gazebo.
But it was late 60s, early 70s, if I remember correctly. And it tore up like the old movie theater. I don't know if you remember that. A lot of people don't even remember that movie theater.
It was on the corner.
Was it on the first or second floor? Because I've heard conflicting stories that it was on a second floor movie theater.
No, it was on the first floor. I mean, I never went in it, but I just remember.
It was being on the first floor? Oh, yeah, I have different reports on whether, I was like, I've never heard of a movie theater on the second floor. floor.
I don't remember that.
But
I know there were a lot of shops on the second floor. Dr. Parr was a dentist, and I remember he had a shop on the second floor above McGinnis or something.
oh yeah, because his wife Elizabeth Parr took all those really cool pictures of the square and things like that.
Yeah.
I wonder when his business went down.
I don't know.
They must say.
I remember back in the late 70s coming out here, and I think it was closed then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, but I remember he had a door that was just glass, you could look through it, and you remember seeing all the old equipment in there.
Oh wow.
You walk up the stairs right there, and it was.
Did you do
thought about that in
procedures?
years.
I was gonna say, did you do procedures?
I don't know. It was the dental office.
I must say back then, I know their local anesthetics wasn't as advanced
Yeah, I
as
don't
they.
know how they. I don't know. I never went to him. So.
I must say personally, I couldn't have done it. My teeth would have had a route out of my head. I don't know. I can't even do it today sometimes. Or some of the stuff they like to do to your teeth. So moving into like, are there anything that you hope future generations? Because like we've talked about a few times. You know, the old Collierville generation are sadly fading away. As new people come in, what is one thing you would tell them about Collierville? Like, what was one thing you hope continues through the ages? Just a piece of advice, I guess, is the best way to put it.
It is a small town feel, and don't just because you want all these other things, when you get all those big things that you have in Memphis and everything, it's going to change. It's going to change Collierville. Let's keep it like it is. You know, I mean, I don't know how else to put that. But
No, I mean, blunt sometimes is the best way to do it.
Yeah, not to try to make it something that it's not now. You know, keep that feel that we still have.
That just like I know your neighbor kind of feel.
Yeah.
But I think that Collierville scratches a different itch, I feel like. You know what I mean? Than Memphis. Like, Memphis is the place you go when you want to have a good time. But Collierville is a place to live, I feel like.
And I get it, because sometimes I wish we had a little bit more things here, but you can drive down the road. You don't have to have it all here. It doesn't have to be here.
I agree.
I mean, it's not like you have to drive 50 miles to have that.
You get on the highway, and what is it, a 30-minute drive to get downtown?
I mean, you know, I just think we need to keep, and I really, I guess I shouldn't say this, I wish, and I know they were approved a long time ago, but I wish there weren't so many apartment complexes.
That is a frequent discussion
I
point.
bet it is. I bet
Well,
it is.
and I agree. Like, yes, to keep the younger populations in here, we're going to need some multifamily complexes, but it has feel like it's gotten, I feel like every time I turn around, there's a new apartment going up, so it's just.
And they were approved a long, long time ago, and I get it. And I thought they might never happen, but all that area, chilling, it's just a lot of population there.
I know, I forget about Schilling sometimes. I feel like I have never really gone back there, nor have needed a reason to, but I think I went back there one time and I was like, there are a lot going on back here.
A lot going on back there.
But it's I feel like we have to find that sweet spot of growth.
Well, I think we need to get a handle on the traffic, because traffic is getting.
Yeah, traffic. I always say that Collierville is a Main Street town that has grown past Main Street town numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even in my little bit of time here, I feel like traffic's increased.
How long have you been here?
About only 3 years, and I feel like it's getting
Ooh.
harder and harder to get to work every
I think
day.
it's increased in 3 years. Can imagine what I've seen.
I was about to say, you've probably seen it when there's only 2 or 3 cars on the road at 8 o'clock in the morning.
I do remember though, as a child, there was only one. There was only one traffic light, and I think that
Really?
must have been at Poplar and Bahia.
Byhalia? Was that the schools used to be over there? Did they not?
Well, the big school, the whole school was here.
Yeah, the old high school is here. I think
But they had that was a whole school at one time.
Oh yes, yes,
That
yes,
was
yes.
the whole school. That's where my mother went.
That's all you got.
And that was it. Before they moved to Memphis.
Well, that's a thing. Another good question to ask too. I mean, how do you feel about how the older buildings are being used? Like the Collierville High School has now kind of become an administrative building.
I think that was a great idea. I think they did a nice job of conserving.
Well, because I mean, we outgrew it. Because I mean,
You couldn't use it anymore. I understand, but I think they did a nice job of keeping it like it is.
yeah, I mean, it looks almost exactly the same as it does in the pictures. So I definitely.
I don't think they should tear it down. That's for sure.
No. I mean, the other school, sure, because it hadn't had as much history. And then, of course, you've got the darn near college campus that's Collierville High School now.
It is.
It is a whole ecosystem over there, I feel like. But
I just hope it doesn't lose. It just can still keep this feel that we still have right now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard.
the Friday night games and stuff like that, I feel like brings back, I mean, because we do share posts and stuff like that of old, like, Friday night football games, and it almost looks identically the same. I mean, the more people, costumes have changed and things like
Of course, they
that.
used to march from it was a high school. They marched from the high school all the way down to the elementary school because they played the games behind the elementary school.
No, see, I didn't know that.
That's right, you've been there 3 years, so yeah, that's where it was.
So they used to just down Poplar, or?
No, they would go down Bahia because the high school was where the middle school is now.
Okay.
And they would go down Bahia and then cross down Powell and then go that way and cross over to Peterson Lake to get to the elementary school, Collierville Elementary. And the stadium, I mean, the track and everything, the stadium's back into that.
See, I did not know that. That is interesting.
There's still some left of which they haven't paved in a while. They put the dragon paws in the street, and there's some of them that you can still see.
You can still see a little bit.
You can still see a little bit of that there in some of those areas there.
Yeah, someone was mentioned to me the other day that they need to refill those in. I was
Yeah, they tracked it all the way to the stadium. It was the dragon tracks and whatever.
So those have been there for a while.
A
then.
long time.
Yeah. I know that because I know Germantown does it too, where they'll have their little horse hoofs across there.
Yeah, they had that there.
I know somebody told me recently that Germantown's jealous of Collierville's town, like square area.
Well, see, Germantown doesn't have a
square.
They don't have a concise area for the town.
Yeah.
It is just spread out all over the place. That's what's so unique about our town square.
Yeah, I mean, because I've been through Germantown a few times, and I know the depot sits a little far from the tracks, and then there's like that street where there's a big restaurant, and I think the Germantown commissary are right next to. Yeah, and then that's pretty much their
That's it.
Their
That's
square.
just the little area right there. Yeah.
Oh, let's say we actually recently had them open up the depot for Tree Heritage Day, which is something they don't really do, and I think that's a good juxtaposition for Collierville because I mean, Collierville has its own museum, its own tourism department, and then Germantown, which is 5 minutes up the road, is I think they're all volunteer run over there on a historical society.
I've never asked.
But well, to wrap this up, I mean, is there anything that we didn't ask that you would like to share? I mean, this is your open floor for you to.
Oh, I guess just nothing I can think of. I guess I've told you pretty much about my family, where they lived and where they grew up and everything.
And are you the last of your family here, or do you have cousins and stuff like that sprinkled around?
I have one first cousin, and he lives in New York and has been there since he got out of college. So, my daughter lives lives here, but no, I don't. Everybody's passed away. Everybody's at Magnolia Cemetery or Bethany Cemetery out in the county.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
everybody's passed away.
I know that's what we're hoping that we can get the last little bit of stories for everybody.
That's why I brought some pictures and stuff of some of the family that.
And we'll definitely take a look at those because, like I said, these pictures, it's so hard. Like you hear the stories, and people tell you, well, Uncle so and so and Aunt so and so did this at this property, and I'm like, okay, what do they look like? Because I mean, when you work in the museum field, oral history is very important. And, documented history is extremely important, but people react to images, I feel like. And I feel like when.
It brings you back to that time.
Yes, that's the exact best way to put it. And I think like when you were talking, before we started recording, we were talking about that post we did about Mr. Madison's alien equipment he's got.
His ham radio.
Yeah, his ham radio equipment that he still has, his family still have left up there. And that post, people really engaged with it really well because I think if you're new Collierville, you've probably driven by that going.
I have people ask me all the time.
I know, people ask us a lot of times, and I was like, you know what? I'll have to look into that because I'm not really sure. And then I found that article, and then old car people are like, oh yeah, that thing is just as iconic as the water tower. I mean, it's been here just as long.
I hadn't thought about that, yeah. It probably is about as old as the water tower.
Yeah, you got the water tower and the ET phone home equipment right down the street. So
yeah, I don't know when the last time you used it.
I know, I need to look into if that equipment's even still functional.
Oh, it wouldn't be. No, it couldn't.
But I doubt they're upkeeping.
Technology is way far off.
I know. Well, his family still lives there, do they not?
I thought Dorothy still lives in that house.
I said someone else mentioned that Dorothy might have still lived there. I'll have to ask her because apparently there's a whole ham radio room that attaches.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it
to
should be something to because he had a big. He worked for WMC.
And someone said he was a backup for NASA.
He did something that I have to read about all that because he was able to contact them in space or something when nobody else could or something. And I don't know how that could have possibly happened with the antiquated equipment they had compared to, I don't know.
I mean, that is so crazy, though. If little Collier, somebody in little Collierville.
That's why you need to talk to Dorothy. Hopefully you can talk.
Yeah, because
I haven't seen her in a long time, so I don't know how she's.
I'm hopefully I'll run over there. I mean, it's not like she's 300 miles down the road or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
you need to do that right away because you never know when you lose track of all that stuff.
Yeah, it is easy to get time, let it get away from you for a bit, and that's why we want to do something like this. So.
I used to talk to Mayor Cox a lot because he remembered my family from way back, and he gave me a thing saying that my great grandfather Jackson used to do barbecues at his house here on Peterson Lake, and people would come from all over the county for his barbecue. I'm like, okay. Herman Cox told me, so I'm sure.
I mean, he was mayor here for eons.
So yeah, there's a lot of history and stuff, but I'm not the one because I didn't actually. My mother grew up here till she was in her teens, and then I came back here when I was grown to live. So a lot of that's pieces that I'm not. I didn't really live here to experience everything. It was only what I experienced with my family.
Well, I think it's also still pretty important, though, because I think that time away helps you put stuff in perspective a little better, coming back into Collierville and seeing what Collierville offers compared to Memphis, Germantown, Bartlett, and all those other towns. So I definitely think that perspective is just as equally as important because, I mean, you came back and there was a reason. So
yeah.
And then, but saying, if you can put it into one sentence, what would you say is the reason that made you come back here? Just
back then, because we had lived in the Carolinas for 5 years, and it was a small town we lived in, and we kind of liked it and enjoyed it, and we kind of wanted that same thing. Basically, that's what it was. And we said, oh, well, let's just check out and see what's in Collierville.
And I think that says a lot.
And back there in '87, there were 3 new houses to choose from.
3 whole new houses.
There were 3 new houses.
Yeah, a lot of people who moved back during the era said, yeah, we usually had to build our own house and stuff like that.
I mean, there was not, big subdivisions, so we really kind of watched it grow. Really watched it grow from '87 to now.
I'm about to say, I would have loved to have seen from your viewpoint coming in here with a town that had fields of flowers.
Oh, I mean, those buttercups were beautiful. My mother would tell me every time we passed by them, she'd say, we used to stop there and pick buttercups all the time. Okay.
And now there's Schilling Farms there.
You'd be lucky to find a bulb out there if you see anything blooming behind that area.
It's probably Collierville. People say Collierville probably put it there. We're very serious about our flowers out here. You know that. I mean, tulip season out here there's tulips everywhere.
Oh yeah, they plant them all around.
Yeah. But I mean, we have and that's another funny point. Like we go from naturally occurring, buttercups to having our own horticulturists to be able to plant all of our flowers.
And they do a beautiful job with it.
Oh, they really do.
And the sanitation department is awesome.
I see. That's another thing I think sets us apart from the other towns is that I never really see like trash anywhere or potholes or.
They really keep it clean. They really do.
And I think that's
and they take a vested interest in it because I've actually seen them observe getting out of a truck and picking up something on that. Oh gosh, all right. You didn't need to have to do that.
Yeah,
I mean, you just wanting to keep it clean.
Well, yeah, because let me put it this way: if I saw one can blowing down the road, I would remember that one can. Then if I drive into Memphis and there's 6 mattresses across the road, and then I'm just like, that is what it is.
That's the way it is. Yeah. But they do an exceptional job keeping this town.
Oh yeah, I mean we're beautiful when we're in bloom. That is for sure. Well, I mean, anything else you'd like to add, or?
I don't know what good I did to you, but I hope.
Every little bit helps. It's like another little puzzle piece at the end of the day. So
put it in the pile.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too is that this is stuff that never makes the history books. Like when you look at Clarion Russell's big red book of Collierville history, these little details don't make it into. Like I didn't know.
Collierville and her people, that big one.
Yeah, the tome
that
is what we call.
They spelled the Earnhardt name wrong. Yeah.
Oh, they did. Oh no! I promise you, if Collierville ever does a reprint, I will be in there immediately to get their name correct.
There's a lot of good news, a lot of good information.
Oh well,
there's a wealth of information.
Well, you know that she was elbow deep in this city or this town. She was in every committee, every council, everything.
She did everything, yeah.
And so she was also a good good information that you just don't get on a day-to-day basis. Like she
no.
remembers what they ate, who was there, what they were wearing, who they were with. It's just like,
Wow.
she's better than me. And that's another thing, is that this project unfortunately came too late to get Miss Clarion to be on it, and it's just,
That's a shame because
I mean, we would have been here for hours.
she did a good job on that book, though. She really did.
Absolutely.
It's
For
a
someone
lot.
who wasn't trained professionally, I mean, better than I could have done 10 years ago, that's for
There's
sure.
a lot of history in there.
Oh, and we got
And they only
most of
printed
it.
something. They didn't print that many of those books.
No, I think it was about 1,500. And they're going, do you know that they're going for like $300 on eBay? And I told people, like, listen, if you want one, they're $35 in the gift shop still. We still have plenty left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We were talking about the same book.
Yeah, we're the big red
Okay,
book.
yeah,
I think the people
Never
who,
let me go on mine.
well, I think people who got them passed them down.
Oh, yeah, I would pass it.
Yeah, and so a lot of people don't need new ones. So it just ends up being a moment of like, well, here, you can just have my copy.
That is too long.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming in and viewing today's recording session of In Their Words Oral History Project. This has been Nicole Gregory and the Morton Museum. Thank you so much.